What if the most powerful computer on Earth isn't tucked away in some sprawling cloud data center, humming with servers and flashing lights? What if it's actually in a tiny petri dish, no bigger than a raindrop? Sounds like science fiction, right? Well, last year something truly mind-bending happened. Researchers at Cortical Labs managed to teach 800,000 living human neurons to play the classic arcade game, Pong. And get this, they did it in under 5 minutes, using a measly 20 watts of power. That's about the same energy as a dim refrigerator bulb. Think about that for a second. Silicon, for all its incredible advancements, still can't pull off that kind of feat with such efficiency. And that, my friends, is why the next monumental leap in artificial intelligence won't be something we meticulously code line by line. No, it's going to be something we cultivate, something that blooms. For decades, we've been on an incredible journey, cramming more and more transistors onto ever smaller chips, following Moore's law with almost religious devotion. But we're hitting a wall, a very real, very physical limit. Transistors, bless their tiny hearts, can't shrink forever. When you get down to the width of just a few atoms, electrons start to get a bit unruly. They misbehave, quantum effects kick in, heat skyrockets, and suddenly performance stalls. It's like trying to squeeze an elephant into a thimble. It just doesn't work efficiently anymore. Beyond the physics, there's the energy problem. Training a single cutting-edge large language model today consumes as much electricity as 100 average homes do in an entire year. Let that sink in. Meanwhile, the global datasphere is ballooning, projected to soar past 180 zettabytes in the near future. We're not just facing a physics wall. We're staring down an energy crisis. And honestly, silicon alone, as remarkable as it is, simply can't vault over these growing obstacles. We need a different paradigm, a fundamentally new way to compute that doesn't just push the boundaries of current technology, but redefines them entirely. The truth is, nature already figured this out billions of years ago. Take your own brain, for instance. Every cubic millimeter of that incredible organ holds roughly 1 million neurons, constantly chattering away through intricate networks of synapses. This biological marvel stores the equivalent of 1 million Blu-ray discs worth of information, all while idling on the power of a tiny nightlight. It's astonishing efficiency. Or consider DNA. That elegant double helix packs an estimated 200 million gigabytes of information into a single gram. Life, in its infinite wisdom, runs information processing of staggering complexity using nothing more than simple sugars and oxygen. The real trick, the secret sauce, is that biology computes with chemistry. Think about it. Adenine A pairs with thymine T, cytosine C with guanine G. This isn't just a genetic code. It's a 4-letter alphabet that can hold instructions, run complex algorithms, and even learn from experience. This molecular dance allows for massively parallel processing, where countless tiny operations happen simultaneously, rather than sequentially like in traditional computers. It's a distributed, fault-tolerant system that has been perfected over eons, offering a blueprint for a new kind of computation that silicon can only dream of imitating. So, how does this biological computing actually work in practice? Picture a strand of DNA not just as a blueprint for life, but as a tiny programmable zipper. This zipper only closes, or binds, when 2 segments match perfectly. Researchers are now designing synthetic snippets of DNA that can be programmed to bind or not bind under specific chemical conditions. This seemingly simple interaction allows them to create molecular logic gates, the fundamental building blocks of computation, like yes or and not gates. String enough of these tiny molecular gates together, and what do you get? A neural network, not made of silicon and wires, but of molecules floating in a solution. It's a truly elegant form of parallel processing, where millions of these reactions can occur simultaneously. In 2023, a groundbreaking team at Caltech actually built a DNA convolutional network that successfully recognized handwritten digits after a training period. There wasn't a single silicon chip involved, just test tubes gently warming on a lab bench. Sure, the reaction took hours to complete, which isn't exactly real time, but here's the kicker. It used 1/1000th the energy of a conventional GPU. This isn't just a clever lab trick. It's a profound demonstration of how biomolecules can execute complex algorithms with unparalleled energy efficiency, paving the way for molecular-scale AI. Now let's talk about something even more direct: fusing biology and electronics. Cortical labs, the pioneers behind the Pong-playing neurons, have done just that. They've developed what they call the CL1 biocomputer, which essentially fuses human stem cell-derived neurons onto silicon electrode arrays. Imagine a miniature neural network, living and breathing, directly connected to our electronic world. Signals sent into the dish make these incredible cells fire, just like they would in a real brain, and the resulting patterns of activity can then be read back out and interpreted. But here's where it gets really interesting. Instead of programming explicit logic, you guide their plasticity. You essentially reward desired behavior with targeted electrical pulses, mimicking the way dopamine teaches and reinforces learning in our own brains. After just 24 hours, these cells literally rewire themselves, optimizing their paddle movement until they could consistently beat the computer baseline in Pong. They learned, they adapted, and they did it in a way no coded algorithm can replicate, through the dynamic self-organizing power of living neural tissue. This isn't just about faster computation, it's about a fundamentally different kind of learning, one grounded in the adaptive nature of biological intelligence, offering a platform for understanding brain diseases and drug discovery in a whole new light. Taking this concept a step further, we enter the realm of organoid intelligence, or OI. Organoids are these fascinating sesame seed-sized clumps of brain tissue, meticulously grown in a lab, that self-organize into cortex-like layers, mirroring the complex architecture of a developing brain. Scientists at Johns Hopkins, among others, are at the forefront of this field, wiring these 3D mini-brains to high-density electrode arrays. Their goal? To train them to recognize speech patterns, to learn and eventually to think. Early prototypes have already shown remarkable aptitude, distinguishing vowels with an impressive 90% accuracy. And the best part? They keep improving, continuously learning and refining their abilities, as long as they're supplied with the necessary nutrients. Because these organoids mirror actual neural circuits, they offer an unprecedented opportunity. They could one day host a form of generalized intelligence, an AI not based on abstract mathematical models and vast data sets, but grounded in biological reality itself. This isn't just about building a better computer. It's about unlocking the fundamental principles of intelligence by cultivating it directly, offering a pathway to AIs with a more intuitive and flexible understanding of the world. So why should we care about all this biological wizardry when our current neural networks are already doing such incredible things? Because current neural nets, for all their power, are still fundamentally imitations of brains. And imitation, no matter how sophisticated, has its limits. Organoid computers, on the other hand, embody the genuine article. They offer inherent advantages that silicon struggles to match. Continuous learning, not just during a discrete training phase, incredible fault tolerance where the system can reroute around damaged parts, massive parallelism with billions of operations happening simultaneously, and perhaps most crucially, ultra-low power consumption. Imagine a biocomputer, perhaps the size of a chocolate bar, that could eventually outperform an entire warehouse filled with power-hungry GPUs, all while sipping energy like a smartwatch. That kind of efficiency completely flips the economics of AI. It means advanced cognition, complex decision-making, and real-time learning could be integrated into devices we've only dreamed of. Tiny drones, remote satellites, even embedded within the human body for medical applications. This isn't just an incremental improvement. It's a paradigm shift that could make AI ubiquitous, powerful, and sustainable in ways we can barely fathom today. The implications of programmable biology extend far beyond traditional computing, particularly into the realm of medicine. Imagine, for a moment, smart cells swimming through your bloodstream, acting as tiny, intelligent biological scouts. These engineered cells could be designed to precisely sense the DNA markers of a tumor, and only then, in that exact location, release a targeted chemotherapy drug. This isn't distant fantasy. Synthetic biologists have already engineered bacteria that glow in the presence of specific pathogens, acting as living diagnostics. They've also created bacteria that can deliver drugs and then self-destruct after their mission is complete. Now, add DNA-based logic gates to this equation. Suddenly you have living pharmacists, microscopic entities, capable of making complex therapeutic decisions faster and with greater precision than any hospital lab can email results. This personalized in situ medicine could revolutionize treatment for cancer, infectious diseases, and countless other conditions, minimizing side effects and maximizing efficacy by turning our own bodies into intelligent, self-regulating pharmacies. Beyond computation and medicine, biocomputing promises a revolution in data storage. Think about the sheer volume of digital information we generate every second. Where do we put it all? Our current storage methods, like hard drives and magnetic tapes, are prone to degradation and require constant energy. But what if all the world's data could fit inside a single coffee mug? That's the astonishing potential of DNA storage. Microsoft, in collaboration with the University of Washington, famously encoded the entire 1978 classic film Superman into synthetic DNA, read it back perfectly, and then repeated the trick with an entire gift card database. Why DNA? Because it's incredibly dense. A single gram can store hundreds of millions of gigabytes, and it's incredibly stable. When kept cold and dry, DNA can last for tens of thousands of years, far outstripping any current digital storage medium. No magnets to demagnetize, no bit rot to worry about. As the costs of DNA sequencing and writing plummet, driven by advancements in biotechnology, we could see archival vaults shift from vast, energy-hungry magnetic tape libraries to compact, freeze-dried genes. Imagine preserving humanity's entire digital legacy in a form factor that's both durable and sustainable for millennia. As we venture into the realm of living computers, particularly those involving human brain cells, we inevitably arrive at profound ethical crossroads. If clumps of neurons grown in a dish begin to show verifiable signs of learning, adaptation, and even a rudimentary form of memory, when do we cross the threshold into something resembling consciousness? Do we then owe these mini-minds rights, similar to those we afford animals in research? Should they be granted periods of rest or provided with stimulating environments to foster their development? These aren't hypothetical questions for a distant future. They are becoming increasingly relevant today. International groups are already proactively drafting organoid intelligence guidelines, drawing parallels with established animal research ethics. For now, the complexity of these cultures is far simpler than even a fly's brain. But the trajectory is clear, and the questions are no longer confined to philosophy departments. We must tread carefully, establishing robust ethical frameworks now, before we create something truly intelligent, truly alive, and face the moral implications of our own ingenuity. This demands a global conversation, an embedded ethics approach, ensuring that our pursuit of scientific advancement is matched by our commitment to responsible innovation and respect for any emerging forms of biological intelligence. Of course, the path to a future filled with biocomputers isn't without its formidable challenges. One of the biggest hurdles is simply feeding and nurturing a billion neurons. This demands sophisticated microfluidic capillaries that can precisely mimic the intricate blood vessel networks of a living brain, delivering nutrients and removing waste efficiently. Cells also need constant stimulation, or they'll plateau in their development. Too much, however, and they can seize or become overactive. Engineers are actively building mixed cultures, incorporating not just neurons, but also supportive glial cells, which are crucial for stabilizing circuits and providing essential support in a biological brain. Then there's the monumental task of interfacing wet, salty biology with dry, rigid electronics. This involves overcoming issues like saltwater corrosion, ensuring stable signal transmission without drift, and sterilizing equipment without inadvertently frying the delicate cells. Progress is steady, driven by interdisciplinary teams of biologists, engineers, and computer scientists, but it's a complex, multifaceted problem that requires innovative solutions at every turn. It's a delicate dance between maintaining biological viability and achieving robust computational function. a testament to the intricate balance of life itself. So what does the future likely look like? It's not a scenario where biology simply replaces silicon entirely. Instead, the most probable and powerful path is one where we wrap one around the other, creating incredibly potent hybrid systems. Imagine silicon handling the lightning-fast serial tasks, the number crunching, the precise timing, the foundational operating system. Meanwhile, living networks, like organoids or cultivated neurons, excel at adaptive inference, continuous learning, and pattern recognition, bringing their unparalleled energy efficiency and plasticity to the table. And then, for long-term archival storage, DNA tape could flawlessly preserve results for millennia. Picture an insulin pump-sized pod, discreetly housing an organoid accelerator card. You could plug this into your laptop for on-device AI that learns your specific accent and speaking patterns in minutes, without ever having to upload your sensitive data to the cloud. When it's time for an upgrade, or if the biological component reaches its natural lifespan, it composts cleanly, returning to the earth as harmless organic matter. This isn't just about combining technologies, it's about creating a symbiotic relationship, leveraging the strengths of both the digital and the biological to create AI that is more powerful, more personal, more private, and infinitely more sustainable. The environmental benefits of this shift could be truly transformative. Data centers, those behemoths of modern computing, already rival the airline industry in their carbon emissions. The energy required to cool them, to power their endless rows of servers, is immense and growing. Replacing even a fraction of the incredibly energy-intensive training workflows for today is AI models with cell-based systems could slash energy consumption by a factor of 1,000 or even more. Think about that. 1,000-fold reduction in energy. Furthermore, the fuel for these biocomputers, nutrient broth, is primarily made of simple sugars and salts, which are renewable and biodegradable. Instead of venting plumes of hot air into the atmosphere, as data centers do, discarded organoids or biocomponents can be sterilized and recycled as agricultural nutrients. This isn't just about making AI more efficient, it's about fundamentally integrating computation into the circular economy. It's about a future where our most advanced technologies work with nature, not against it, creating a truly sustainable path for the evolution of intelligence. So, when can we expect to see these biological marvels move from the lab bench to our daily lives? Experts predict that lab-grown processors will begin appearing in highly specialized research settings within the next 5 years. Think niche applications for drug discovery, personalized medicine, or fundamental neuroscience research, where their unique capabilities outweigh current scaling challenges. Within 10 years, we might see them emerge as specialized cloud services, offering unparalleled energy efficiency for specific AI tasks. And if the costs follow the famous plunge of DNA sequencing, which has seen prices drop by orders of magnitude, consumer-grade biocoprocessors could realistically arrive by the late 2030s. The first killer app for this technology might not be some superintelligence that solves all our problems, but something far more personal and practical. Imagine a pocket-sized, real-time translation device that after a single conversation learns the nuances of local slang and accent, adapting with a fluidity that current silicon-based systems can only dream of. It's a future where intelligence is not just processed, but truly understood and grown. If you're as fascinated as we are by this incredible frontier where biology meets bits, where the living intertwines with the digital, then hit subscribe. We'll be tracking the latest milestones, from the smallest dish to the most advanced device, and decoding what these living computers truly mean for medicine, for climate, and for the very nature of the mind itself. Silicon carved out the first information age, defining our technological landscape for decades. But life, in its infinite ingenuity, is about to grow the second. The devices that emerge from this revolution may feel like sophisticated gadgets, but they will fundamentally blur the lines between tool and organism, between abstract code and living cell, between the precise work of an engineer and the patient hand of a gardener. Tomorrow's breakthrough AI won't emerge from the cold logic of a compiler. It will bloom quietly and astonishingly alive in a dish, It's wet, it's vibrant, and it's about to change everything.